welcome back to Survivor 50 Seasons in 50 Days. I just finished watching Survivor Guatemala, the forgotten season in Survivor history, and we'll kind of talk about why that might be. This is actually, so fun fact, the 3 times that I've done this is the most notes that I have ever taken, whatever, on this season. And I think it's because I tried to watch it and not be bored by it. And I feel like by the end of it, it was sort of in the middle. But I am joined today by Jocelyn, one of the first people I reached out to when I realized I was going to, once Coach got voted out, Jocelyn's one of the first people I hit up to say, hey, I'm doing 50 and 50. Would you want to come on? Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining again.
Happy to be here. Happy to talk.
And did she freeze or did I freeze? Oh. I think I froze. And then we also have James Hansen, who I think the last time I did this, you had reached out, but we couldn't get something going. So I'm glad that you're able to join to talk about a season that you said plays a special place in your heart. So I guess we'll kind of start with the forgottenness of this season. James, why do you think that is? Why do we, we've had 2 people back. One was the winner and one Stephanie, who we've had back twice. Why is it that people just kind of glance over Guatemala?
I think there's a few reasons. First of all, Coach, thank you so much for having me here. I actually love this season, even though it's a very random one and it is very forgotten in Survivor lore. One, I think it's very forgotten because it was season 11 in like late 2005. We didn't see someone return until 2019 when Danny played Winners at War. For playing their first time. I know Stephanie did play again, but that doesn't really count. Everybody remembers her from Palau. And I think that is another reason this is also forgotten. People remember Stephanie more for Palau, and she was a big part of this season. And another thing is just Danny is kind of a random winner. Like that she didn't give them much in the edit. I actually think she's underrated, but didn't give much in the edit, so that's another reason, could be forgotten. And then lastly, I think this is actually the main reason. It was kind of, in my opinion, in the golden age of Survivor almost, and it's amongst a lot of very strong seasons, in my opinion, at least, and very remembered season. There's not a whole lot going on in the late, like I would say, like Pearl Islands to
next season to Panama.
I would say all the way to like heroes versus villains that are like very forgotten. I would say this one and maybe one other one are forgotten. If you ask me, I'll bring it up because I know you'll get to it when you do that one. But I think this one and one other one are. And I think, part of the reason is just because it's in a pretty strong stretch of seasons in the pretty much golden age of the show. So yeah.
And so, Jocelyn, I know that you watched most of these for the first time in 4 years ago. Was this your first time watching Guatemala since then? And had you kind of forgotten about a lot of it in those 4 years since the last time you watched all the seasons?
This is my first Guatemala rewatch. It will probably be my last. Things stacked up about how I remember them, and a lot of the things that I remember that we will get into weren't any more fun or enjoyable to watch the second time around. So it stacked up about the same, a little less enjoyable. It was probably like a higher mid-season for me the first time around, and is definitely at the low of the mid for me now.
Yeah, and I would say that, and I said this yesterday on the Palau recap, that Palau and Guatemala introduced 2 big game dynamics that we get moving forward through basically the rest of Survivor history in Exile Island and Palau and the Idol in this season. And we're going to talk all about this first iteration of the Idol. But the other thing I kind of forgot about was this also introduces the concept of captains seasons. We get Bobby, John, and Stephanie back, and I feel like that is a great storyline coming off of Palau. And I had to look up the filming schedule. This is basically 5-6 months after Palau. This isn't, Rizzo playing.
It's not that. Yeah.
They have had time to go back and gain weight and decompress from everything that happened in Palau. And I think these are the 2 and I said this yesterday, Bobby John 1.0 and 2.0 are basically the same for me. Stephanie 1.0, yeah, for the most part. Stephanie 2.0, no, for the most part. And we kind of go on through history there. But so we have a captain season. They're put on their tribes. You know, they don't have to pick. They Jeff has assigned them tribes. And I would say this is the final season where Survivor is actively trying to kill their players. I think after this season, they kind of lay off a little bit. And I think because of the walk or the trek, they realize, okay, maybe people are tired of seeing people struggle their ways through wherever we're at. Jocelyn, how does it hit for you the second time, this trek to their camp? And what we've got 4 or 5 people that are like actively dying, including Bobby John, who's trying to get his second chance.
The guy who's going to do everything too, the guy who's going to bust out and be strong and do it is in trouble. One of the things I almost had as my modern Survivor, it's on my list, but I've had enough notes going through that we're going to need to just bring it up every time it comes up instead, is literally that modern Survivor fans would panic at the fact that we don't see a medic this entire season. There's no discussion about pulling anyone out of the game. We'll talk about it later, but Amy goes down under the ball and Jeff says that's an advantage for Nakum. Like that's his reaction to Amy going down under the ball. Like,
yes.
And we see it from the very beginning. Now, rumors wise, there's the rumor, probably confirmed, that Judd accidentally switched their water on that hike. So they were all drinking and cleaning with the same water. So it makes a little more sense. It's still a brutal challenge no matter what. But the second time through, it was really interesting to watch it with the perspective of knowing how hard it's going to be on them and watch it from the very beginning. Oh,
it's only their tribe that's dying. Yes. The other tribe is relatively
they're
fine.
Drinking poisoned water, that might be the problem.
James, for you, how far would you make it? Before you say, hey, maybe I should have signed up for Palau?
Man, I would have been like Bobby John and Blake and most of the other guys out there. And it is crazy that I think a lot of the first vote revolves around tribe strength, obviously, and the oldest guy goes home, Jim, who also struggled with it. But I mean, those strong young dudes' names are thrown out because they struggled to make this trek. So like, this thing was not easy. I stand my ground on it being the hardest way they've ever started the game, hands down. And yeah, like I think you said this is where they stopped trying to kill them, especially to start the season. Yeah,
they would never do that. They have not done this since then. And I kind of look at it kind of like how I look at Pearl Islands, where the first 15, 20 minutes of that episode is them starting the game differently, but different in a fun way. It is not fun watching these. It's fun watching Lydia because Lydia's fun the entire season, but it's not fun watching Bobby John, who I feel like most people kind of resonated with the season beforehand, have his eyes roll in the back of their head. And the only medical person that we do have there is Margaret, who I guess we're, depending on how you look at Judd, we're supposed to either really hate or at least be annoyed by as the season progresses. It's kind of talking about a few other people in the cast. Brian, for me, is the biggest super fan of the show since Rob Sesternino. I loved in his brief time, his confessions and everything. Jocelyn, thoughts on Brian?
I think she's muted.
Jocelyn, are you muted? Are you muted? I don't think she. Jocelyn, are you muted?
I wasn't, but I muted and unmuted again. Does it work now? It wasn't muted, but okay.
We can hear you.
Sorry.
No,
Brian for me is really interesting. I have him on my return list because I would love to see Brian play and actually strategize, because I think he's capable of more strategy than he did, rather than the focus that he had on kind of like portraying the character of the person who was doing the strategy. I think he was more capable of a lot more strategy than either we saw or he did. And I think he has a lot more potential than the game that actually got played. And I think the tribe swap really messed him up, and we might have seen a really different game out of him if that hadn't happened and hadn't happened so soon.
And Brian is still very big in the Survivor community. Like he still hangs out with a lot of the New York City crowd and a lot of people outside of the New York City crowd. Everyone knows Brian. The college that I used to work at, actually, there were students at the school that he was their like SAT prep person in New York City. So they saw the first time I did the marathon, they saw him on the, because I used to put it in on the bar and at the school, and they were like, I know that guy. He taught me, this. It's like, that's crazy. Well, he was on Survivor. James, for you, is he on what returnee list wise? If we end up in a situation where we still bring back returnees from pre-20, which I hope they do at some point, do you think that would he be on your short list, or at least on your long list?
Oh, for second chances, I think he would have been a perfect candidate, especially them not bringing people back from this season and them digging into the pre-mergers, especially people like Brian, who showed a lot of potential but got swap screwed. And I do agree with Jocelyn. I think if he makes the merge, we could see a completely different game. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't boring, but it wasn't necessarily the most strategic post-merge. Like, we did have a couple. I guess I'd say Rafe and Stephanie really controlled the game strategically, but I'd love to have seen the season with Brian thrown in the mix there. And it was just so much there was just so much wavering potential that we didn't see. And the fact that he is still involved in the community and such a super fan, and that Second Chances was such a successful theme, I wouldn't completely rule Brian out of being like on a future Second Chances type of ballot if they were to go back into the old school. Yeah.
And I do this might be delusional at this point, but I do feel like as much as they don't listen to certain things, I do feel like Second Chances is the type of concept that they would put that in Blood versus Water. I feel like the two things that if Survivor doesn't listen to anything else that the large majority of fans are saying, I do think that's two things that people like that would resonate with them of like, okay, they really like these two themes. And so I know I'm not the only one saying this, but I think the next returning season, whenever it happens, will be a Blood versus Water, because that is something that people, and I don't know Brian's family life or friend life at this point, but like Brian is someone that I would want to see back, mainly to get rid of this Guatemala erasure that we have kind of just been living with for the last however many years. The other person that we are kind of introduced to here is Gary Hawkins, Gary Hogaboom, landscaper, NFL quarterback. He's long since retired at this point, but he's still tall and lanky. He's not a linebacker, as Danny calls it. This is the first time that we have like an outright, like people know who you are here person on the show. Jocelyn, Gary Hawkins and or Hogaboom, how are you feeling about him?
Gary is one of my favorite parts of this season. Gary is part of what knocks this up into mid even for me probably at this point. The extent that he will let Danny call him out and then just be like, well, yeah, all of those. Yeah, I went to that college at that same time and I look exactly like him, but I didn't play football. Like, it's a commitment to a terrible lie that I admire so much and I love watching happen.
Yeah, James, I know you're a football guy.
Yeah.
If you're playing in a game like this and you realize that someone is, I don't know, who's a back. If you
Chase Daniel.
You realize that someone is from Missouri. He went to Missouri, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Chase Daniel. You went to Missouri? No, my name is Chase, but I went to Missouri, but I'm not Chase Daniel. do you feel like you would dox him anyway, or do you?
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Depending on how my relationship went with him, I know she did it kind of like cross tribe. So if it's cross tribe, I'm probably telling my tribe and holding it against him, or I'm at least holding that information to myself and then approaching him when we do cross paths and essentially using it as blackmail. That's probably what I'm doing. But no, good on Danny for clocking it, and that's another reason I like her. I like she's the sports girl. Like she was a I think a local sportscaster in Kansas at the time.
Yeah.
So like that was smart awareness for her to knock it. But Gary also didn't clean that up the best either. He
It is
saying he went to the same college is crazy. Yeah.
When they swap and he's the one leading the conversation of what does everyone do for a living, and then I don't remember who says it, but like, oh yeah, you're a retired football player. It's like, oh no, I'm a landscaper, and they say, oh, Danny says, he's like, oh, she's like, yeah, blah blah blah, and he's like, no, I mean, I went to Central Michigan, but
yeah,
I didn't play football there. It's like, just say you went to UCLA. Or like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, you didn't go to college.
Danny had already confirmed that there's a giant statue of him at that college. Like, I didn't follow his sports career at all, but he also played at a time where Sports Center was huge, sports broadcasting was huge. So if you haven't heard Hogaboom Goes the Dynamite, whether you care about Gary Hogaboom or not, like, it doesn't matter that you know him. His name is recognizable, which puts him on Sports Center, so people would have known him even if they weren't fans of his.
Yeah. So Gary Hawkins is not. Yeah. His name is Jeff whatever. Gary Hawkins is so close to Gary Hogaboom compared to Andrew Denson or James Hansen. Like, you could just say anything. And yes, Danny Boatwright would still be able to sit there and clock who you are because this is her profession. But get your lie a little, and I guess this is 2005-ish. So like, we are still at a point in internet history where it's not that social media is just starting to take off as what it is now. So in 2005, if you don't watch SportsCenter, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you might just think that this person is Gary Hawkins, landscaper, and that Danny has him confused with somebody else. But also don't say you went to Central Michigan and didn't play football, that your name is Gary Hawkins instead of Hogaboom. Danny, the scene where he's sitting there at camp and telling everyone, Danny's just like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, well, I'm just, I guess I'll just go fuck myself then because I know who you are. I love Gary, and we're going to talk about the Idol a little later, but Gary is one of my favorite people on the season. The challenge where Danny's screaming, he's a quarterback, you're built like a linebacker. I think it's Judd. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't be letting a quarterback bully you like this. And I think that her tribe does end up winning. This is one of the seasons where I think this actually might be the first season where not only do I not remember tribe names, but I can't remember who's on what tribe as I watch it, to the point where the swap happens, I'm almost begging it to not happen because I don't know who's with the only 4 people that I know are in different tribes are Stephanie and Danny because of how the game ends, and Bobby, John, and Jamie because Bobby, John, and Jamie. Outside of that, it's like when the swap, I was like, oh, cool. I guess these people are now with them. I don't know half of these people's names. This season kind of runs into the Vanuatu problem of a lot of the pre-mergers are the generic white guys from the male tribe in Vanuatu. I forgot that not Brianna, the other one. Was her name Morgan?
Brooke and Morgan were so random too.
wait, so there was also a Morgan? Wasn't there a Brianna?
Morgan
2, and then
Morgan was 2. Morgan was 2, then Brianna, then Brooke, and all 3 are so forgettable.
Yes. So those 3 are the same as the 4 white guys pre-merge and the skinny white guys in Vanuatu, not Bubba. I'll give props to Bubba. Jocelyn, pre-merge for you, is it a drag, or do you find things to resonate with?
There are entertaining things that we get to see from characters from a gameplay standpoint. I think the game doesn't even start until that's done. I also don't think it helps that every twist, like the merge, the swap, all of it was done so messily this season that it's hard to keep track, even when you're like, you have to take notes while it's happening to figure out where people are laying. And then they get back to their tribes. And we don't see a whole lot of conflict in like figuring out the new dynamics either. So it kind of just feels like it's, they're having different conversations with different people, but it doesn't change the game in a way. Like it just feels very inconsequential and sloppy for no reason in a lot of it.
And so James, the two duos I just named of Danny and Stephanie, but more Bobby John and Jamie, I think because I won't say the primary focus, but a big focus is put on their rivalry pre-merge, that it does kind of take away from everybody else. So for you, when the swap happens, is it okay? Yeah, whatever. As long as these two end up like, how have you felt through all of your times watching the season as far as how the swap turns out, and were you aware of everyone's existence? Because clearly I just spent the entire day watching the season and I forgot that there were three people, not two, that I wasn't recognizing.
So I was aware of everyone's existence, and I think I had the boot order memorized. But the weird thing is, I could not, for the life of me, remember, aside from what you said, who started on what tribe, other than Stephanie and Danny were opposite, and then Jamie and Bobby John were opposite. And it took me, this was probably my fifth or sixth time watching it, and I still forgot, Judd and Stephanie didn't start out together, because, that's such a storyline, how close they are. So, you don't get this right when they swap, but I think ultimately a big storyline for the season is that the swap tribes really stick strong in the post-merge, and we really get a swap tribe versus swap tribe dynamic instead of original versus original tribe dynamic. And that kind of lends you to forget almost who are even on the tribes at times. And that's what can happen on a messy swap season like this. But ultimately, despite all of that, I think that the pre-merge was a little less of a drag, even though there's not a lot of interesting votes for me in a couple different spots. One, couple words. You have ADD. Who could forget that?
We'll get to that.
Okay. Well, that's part of it. And then, yeah, and then the other part is just I have a fond memory of the pool party thing where the two tribes invited people over, and they kind of hung out together. Yeah, he was not having it. So those are a couple highlights for me, just the clutterness of not even ever being able to remember who was on what tribe, and still watching it for a sixth time and not remembering that Judd and Stephanie didn't start out together. And yeah, like you said, what we're going to talk about later was a huge
and so the only other thing I want to talk about pre-swap, I guess, is obviously this is the time period that we are in. But when Jamie is going through his initial tribe and is naming everyone's occupations, and he's like, this person does this and this person does that, and we've got Rafe who's gay, and I'm like, but what does he do? And what he does, at that time it wasn't what he does now. One of my favorite shows of all time is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Rafe was a writer on that show after this, but it's just a funny moment because it's Jamie. Steph's gonna have moments of season where it's rolls my eyes, but when Jamie, I think because Jamie's such a psychopath in this season, anything that he says, similar to Judd, I just kind of laugh at it. It's yeah, this person's a crazy person, and I'm fine with it because I acknowledge that they're crazy and they're going to say crazy shit. So we're right around the swap, and this is kind of where Jocelyn is bringing up specifically Amy's injury, but we also really deal with the whole Bobby John Jamie rivalry that lasts both pre-swap and during swap, where you think at any moment these people are going to start punching each other in the face, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. Today, knowing that they don't fight, I still was like, wow, they might actually swing on each other this time. Today might be the day they swing on each other. Why is this rivalry underappreciated? People don't talk about Jamie versus Bobby John, but like this is one of those ones where it's like these people could kill each other. This is not, you know, a lot of these big rivalries that people kind of look at is like, oh yeah, this person versus this person. It's like, but Bobby John and Jamie, this is, they might fight. Why do we think that this is not looked at as a big one, I guess?
The non-politically correct answer is I think that a lot of people look at the two of them and go like, okay, let them get in a fight. Neither one of them is going to do that bad of damage to each other. It's not like if you had like Joe going at someone in 50. We're talking 2005. Two people fighting on TV isn't a thing that no one wanted, you know? We essentially have a Jersey Shore character in Steph. Like, two guys, it almost was just like, oh yeah, that's another version of that thing that we're seeing in that same way. And it doesn't go anywhere. So it's just like, oh, it's just two guys yelling at each other. It, you know, it's intense. It's great. It's fun to watch. But I think it doesn't last for people in the same way because it goes back and forth with the apologies and stuff. It has dynamics, but it doesn't, there's no final blowout in a way that I think it just doesn't last because it doesn't blow up in a specific way that's memorable, and it's in a season that people don't rewatch as much. And neither one of them's ever come back to talk about it.
Yes, and they're basically best friends on the jury.
Yeah, it's over by that point. Like that's how fast it goes. So.
And so, James, is this just masculine men being overly masculine and then realizing, oh, why the hell?
Yeah, well,
it's Alabama.
I mean, this season was obsessed with pulling boys from the SEC country. So obviously, if you had Alabama versus Georgia boy, there was going to be some ego clashing there. And I think one reason it is kind of forgotten is maybe just because they're not remembered as the most strategic players. And it didn't carry a whole lot of strategic weight. It was interesting to watch, but it was more just like, for me, my core memory of it is more just like it popping up in a some sort of Survivor compilation video with Bobby John and Jamie and the ball, and them getting up in each other's faces. God knows what they're even saying, but
that's not nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then yeah, I mean, and then I also think it is kind of cool how there's a level of respect and grace that comes with the rivalry too. So we do see that, but yeah, I think the fact that the placement where they go out and just the fact they're not the most strategic players, I think that's a reason it's kind of more forgotten.
And we'll talk more about Crazy Jamie during the merge part. We're going to get to the Margaret vote out. So this is one of those twists. So, you know, I talked about a few days ago how we're now slowly entering the twist beginnings on the show. You know, people love to complain about how twists and advantages didn't get started until after COVID. And it's like, no, they started pretty early on in the show's history. And people just kind of block that out of their heads. But we have a double boot episode where the winning tribe also plays for individual immunity, but we're gonna get to sit in on and watch tribal. And the first tribe is Judd and Margaret's, and we get the classic Judd ADD speech. Now, yesterday I said pre-merge I took a drink every time that James on Oolong got something wrong. Based off of Mario Lanza's Funny 115. Today, I did the same thing where at the Margaret Tribal, I took a drink every time, or I took a drink, like a sip, every time Judd said the phrase or word man. And I think it ended up being like 15-ish. This is my favorite final tribal of the season, or final tribal. This is my favorite tribal of the season, besides maybe the Jamie boot.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, ADD.
I think my favorite part of this, and I watched like secret videos of behind the scenes stuff today, so I don't remember if this is from the DVDs or if it's from an interview after. But Judd fully admitting after the fact that he was just blacked out, had no idea what he was saying, doesn't remember the ADD thing, probably made it up, like fully admits at this point what we all knew was happening when we were watching it. It's just beautiful. It's that I wanted to do this season for Steph. I know we're going to get into all of it. But one of the worst things in Steph this season for me is, I think, linking up with Judd and getting that Jersey alliance where there's literally dog whistles of like, I know we think alike. And like, I think that brought out the stuff that we continue to get more exposed to by the end of the season. There's a lot of times that what Judd does is really mean or actually poking at people. Margaret can take it, so this one's just great for me because it's just Judd being that loudmouth Jersey guy. He might as well have had, 15 beers this night, the way that he goes off. Like,
Yes.
and it's just fun to watch because there's no repercussions. Margaret's not hurt by it. It's not, it's just we just get to watch him be a man, and it's incredible.
James.
Oh, Judd is an all-timer for me. Like, just in terms of memorable, just character, he's unforgettable. But this moment in particular, just unhinged, like you said, just saying whatever he wants to say. Like you said, he may have been blacked out at the time, just does not remember, just was splurring stuff out. And Margaret was like the perfect counter like person for Judd in this season, in my opinion. Like, and I love that she could take it from him and was willing to like get in the weeds with Judd, because we needed somebody that was going to do that. And it was so beautiful. And like we're going to get into him. I guess we'll get into it more later, but just quick on Judd. I feel like his story plays out the way it should almost.
It needs to.
And
yes. Exactly.
But if that didn't happen, man, I'd love to see. Man, it's funny I said man. It's funny. It's funny to think of an alternate universe where Judd is just sitting at an FTC on the other side, just getting destroyed by the jury. So.
And I was thinking about this earlier. Like, a lot of words that I use to describe Guatemala are underappreciated, and I would say that him and Jamie are prime examples of underappreciated villains in the show's history, because both of them, you just want the worst thing survivor-wise to happen to them, which is basically being blindsided or voted out. And when it happens to both of them, it's like, this is great. I love everything that's happening on my screen right now. And I feel like Jamie is, like, by the time Judd goes home, it's like, okay. And I think it goes back to when Judd and Jamie have their little tiff during the merge. It's like, okay, I guess I'm team Judd over Jamie, because Jamie is just unhinged and is also just probably dying at this point. But yeah, the Margaret vote and ADD and sportsmanship and all of that, it's just one of those all-time moments where you want to see the raw version of it, just to see how long he went off. Because we know that this is not everything that he's saying, but him saying, I'm a bad sportsmanship, it's like, what are you talking about? You're just saying things. And so Jocelyn saying, oh yeah, this was him just blacking out and just saying things. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because it just sounds like the ramblings of a crazy person. One last thing I want to, and this is not, we don't even have to touch on it. It's just, it was funny to me today during the ultimate frisbee challenge, but with the ball, the basketball ultimate frisbee challenge. The one where Bree is just kind of standing there the entire challenge, and I'm getting frustrated watching her stand there, and I guess I'm relating to Steph because I'm like, I get it, Steph. Why is she just standing there? Like, you gotta come closer. Yeah, you gotta come closer. I cannot throw the ball that far.
Useless.
I'm glad Lydia stayed. I don't know if I couldn't remember if it was that round, but like, I'm glad Lydia stayed and not her because move. So we hit merge. And I haven't deleted the Central Michigan bit on my phone yet, so I just looked at it and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Central Michigan. Amy and Brian, my two favorite pre-mergers on the season by far. Like, there's Amy takes a beating this season, one with her ankle and two with the ball. As you mentioned, and she just gives great confessionals, and she says she's going to kill Gary Hawkins if it turns out that he's actually Gary Hogaboom.
Hunt him down, find his phone number, find his address. She lists 10 different things she's going to do to find Gary Hawkins.
Oh, that was awesome.
Who doesn't exist. She's looking for a name of a person that doesn't exist.
Also, really quick, I have one thing. How was Blake one of the biggest douchebags to ever play Survivor?
Yeah.
Like, okay, top 5.
The golden boy or golden child? Is it golden boy or golden child?
Golden boy.
Golden boy.
Yeah, golden boy. Yes, yeah.
He was pretty useless too. God, that guy. Oh.
Yeah, he was. he wasn't the worst, but he's up there. I only remember that he's Blake because of today. If you had shown me a picture of him right now 2 days ago, I'd be like, that's someone who's played Survivor before, and I couldn't tell you who it is. But yeah, Blake's a douchebag, and also Jamie says, because the round they vote out Bree, I think it was Bree. Jamie says he likes girls that are crazy and pretty. Jocelyn, I know I texted you earlier about who he dated.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, you know. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. that kind of checks out.
Also, he could have left and she's neither off the end of the sentence. We would have understood the direction he was going.
God, Nora and Jamie dating is just such a fabulous Survivor tidbit too. Like, it's crazy to me.
because Jamie's in his mid to late 20s here, and Nora is in her mid to late
30s when she plays,
but there's such a long gap that it still makes sense that they could have dated at some point because I mean,
it's just such a weird tidbit though.
Nothing but a number anyway, but like it makes sense. So we hit merge. And I really like Brandon, but Brandon was the sacrifice that we needed to get what we do get at merge. Because as much as I enjoyed Brandon's time on the show, he was a decent confessionalist. I think I kind of understood the game ish. Him going when he does give us what we do get the merge, which is basically Danny doing what Besepia, Chris and Vanuatu and a few others have done, where it's like, I'm going to play from the bottom and just see what happens. And I think that's where the Danny storyline starts, but it doesn't take off until a little later. This merge round is a lot of fun because the Bobby John Jamie thing basically hits its peak. Like, it is. We have the food challenge, or basically, hey, if you feel comfortable, and I think this is the first time that this has happened. I think if you feel comfortable, you can sit out. And so it's everyone but the four plus Cindy and Judd. And Jamie is just sitting there saying, yeah, like they know. Like he's playing honesty integrity because he's straight up saying they know they're screwed. So it's no big deal. My first question, Jocelyn, how would Joe from 48 and 50 do on this season? And and two, what did you think of Jamie's strategy? Basically, what it is here. What did you think of Jamie just straight up saying they know what it is and they just have to live with it?
I think Joe would find it honest, but the integrity might be missing a little bit. I think it might only hit 50% of it of honesty integrity for him. I love it because I love Jamie's chaos in this season. I texted you that like Jamie is the person that I would never want to be on the island with, but I would want a version of him in every season that I'm watching on TV. And I think that in a weird way, and this is not me saying I agree with his strategy or his gameplay, I don't know that you can call it strategy. It went in line with his kind of roller coaster of being emotional, coming back for repentance. Like, of all the people to take this strategy, he makes sense to do it. You know, it's in line with all the decisions that he's making about how he's communicating with people in the game. So,
James?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I also would like to bring up, I think it was this round as well, the reward challenge where they get the food and it's like the king of the table type of
Well, no,
thing.
that's the next round.
That's the next round. Okay. That was next round. Okay, yeah. So no, this is interesting. Like obviously that comes back into play with Jamie. He has to redeem himself for his actions, but he was the perfect person to be the villain in this role. And then later have it come or what goes around comes around. Like, and his time isn't too much longer just because like his side does have the numbers, but he's just too much chaos. So he's the perfect person to make this decision, whether it was good or bad for his game. I'm so glad that he did it.
And this is the moment where Rafe as the hero also comes out because Rafe feels horribly that Jamie's sitting here antagonizing everyone in the challenge. And Rafe, I would say that Rafe is probably the hero of the season, even though he votes for the third biggest villain of the season to win the game. And it's one of those situations where he plays the hero role. He doesn't really do anything overly nefarious. And still, we kind of sit here, at least I sit here and say, yeah, he probably wins at the end against either one of the two finalists. Playing
Anybody.
Anybody. Playing a almost 100% hero game. Jocelyn, where do you sit on Rafe here?
This episode specifically, I have notes on how this is like Rafe's turnaround for me because this is the axis of evil conversation, so in wanting to do this season, I remembered a specific thing on the ruins and it was like, I watched all of Survivor in a year and a month. It's a fever dream to me. So there's no conversation. I can't remember who's in it other than Steph, but like there was a moment where I remember the official turnaround of like, ew, officially. And it's when they're all sitting up on top of the ruins and the like, we're treating you like slaves stuff starts happening. And so like, I think this is when we start to see the Rafe that reacts to the ritual later in the season. Like he really starts to show himself as someone who has principles, who wants to play this game and wants to play it strategically and wants to play it with the people that he wants to, but he also really starts showing us who he is as a person and what like his actual gameplay is other than the group that he's in.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, he was a former Mormon at this point. I think
he's a gay ex-Mormon.
Yes. Okay. So James, this is a gameplay that I feel like, and like this is not my modern day Survivor fandom thing, but like this is a gameplay that I feel like people would kind of shit on now, and I feel like maybe shit on back then of like he just wants to be the good guy. He doesn't want mess. He just wants the good. He doesn't want to be labeled as a bad guy. He doesn't want to have to do anything that like makes him feel horribly. Has your opinion on Rafe changed, or has it always been the same?
No, ever since I've really like rewatched this for the first time since it was first on about like 6 years ago, I've held the opinion that Rafe played the best game on the season and would have beat anybody at the end and should rightfully would have won. And here's my reasoning. Rafe was in the majority with a bunch of people that were like either chaotic or unlikable or both, or just not thinking along the lines of the game. And he was able to recognize that.
Yeah, or Lydia. Yes, yes.
Exactly. He was able to recognize that. So like he was the one, I almost want to say it's by default because like the rest of his alliance were just flawed as players, whether it was through jury management or just not doing anything. But like he seemed to have just the level-headedness that you needed while also being in control at the same time. And I think he would have been the person from that majority swap tribe in that alliance that pretty much ran the game with Stephanie and Judd and like Cindy. That, I mean, he would have got the most respect from the other side on the jury, 100%, I think.
Yeah, I compare almost like in that aspect to like an Ethan or Vesepia, where Ethan has Big Tom, who's Big Tom, and Lex, who is Lex, in a situation where people are looking for people like at that point in the show's history, where it's like I want to look for the nicest person, and in Vesepia's case, she had Rob Mariano, who she ends up voting out, and Sean, who I love Sean, and I think that everything he did was the right, but Sean probably loses to Nalia or Pascal, sadly. And Vesepi was that person to kind of be like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna chill out and let these people do what they're going to do. In Rafe's case, it's like we're in the majority here, and I'm gonna let these people do what they're gonna do, and Stephanie's gonna hold my hand and tell me that it's all right. Okay, cool. I'm also gonna make friends with Danny here, so that in the event that my alliance breaks down, which it does, I still have a chance to go to the end. And yeah, Rafe is one of my favorite third placers ever, well, final boots ever, because one, he wins in either situation from I think all three of our perspectives, but also he's just a likable person, and he was one of the writers from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like that's really that's all I care about.
But also at the time he was like a wilderness guide. So just go back to that comment before about his job being gay, because I think of all the people in Survivor that you should know their job, it would be the wilderness guide. Like of all the people that you should associate with their career, that might be the guy to do it for.
No, he's the gay guy.
Yeah.
he's the gay guy. I mean, Jamie's from the South. Gay comes before occupation.
It's a different time.
It's a different time. So we cut Brandon, and then we get the idol. The idol is introduced. The idol is introduced into the game's history, and however many seasons later, Billie Eilish is endorsing one, sort of. This is how far we've come in the show's history. This is the 1.0 version where you have to play it before the votes. And you know, it's funny because Judd, honesty, integrity, and he's lying about where the idol is hidden. And they're going to get rid of Gary Hawkins' Hogaboom. And Gary finds Judd looking for the idol, not on the ground, but anywhere else that's not the ground, which is basically up. James, Idol 1.0, are you sad that they changed it? But two, just this entire thing. just from the Judd lie to Gary finding it.
Okay. First of all, them introducing the hidden immunity idol into the game, probably the best twist possibly they've ever added to the game. I think we can all agree on that, even though this is a different iteration of it. There needed to be some sort of mix up, some sort of safety that, and they were able to find the perfect medium with it eventually, playing it after people vote, but before the votes are read. But anyways, let's talk about in this situation. Judd took one straight out of how Coach would have played it today in season 50 or South Pacific, the whole honor and integrity thing. So what, I lied about the damn idol. Like, it's so funny. But no, I'm glad that Gary did find it, and he did clock Judd's BS, and it was cool in real time too that we didn't actually see Gary find it, and then when it was time to vote, him standing up like that, iconic moment, like, for me. I'll never forget that. I was in like fifth grade watching it, and
Jocelyn, before we get to you, I would just like to say, like, yeah, this is one of the only times that we do get a moment like this where we don't see someone find it, and we just have to, like, Amanda is the only one that really comes to mind in Micro, where, like, we don't know that this person has it until it's shown to us in real time on screen at Tribal of, oh, yeah, I got it. Jocelyn, for you, Idol 1.0, do you think that Idol 1.0 would go over well with the modern day audience, but also just everything that happens with Gary Hawkins' Hogaboom this episode?
I absolutely have a note that how bad of a liar do you have to be that Gary Hawkins' landscaper immediately clocks you? Like, how bad does your lie have to be that Gary was the one that was like immediately like, well, he said it weird and he's looking up. So Idol 1.0, it made me kind of want to go watch some of the seasons that are going to come, because it made me miss that old school Idol scramble, because the concept of it is there, but because it's new and they don't really know what it does, and they don't, it's like they all go out to find it, but it's such kind of casual, it's different idol hunting than we start seeing in a couple seasons after players are used to the idea of the idol and what they're expected to do. So it's a gigantic introduction. It's part of why I have it this season as, like, it's in my pros of the, where do you put it in those mid seasons? A little messy, and I do like the way that we didn't see Gary find it until later. But like even later as we get and behind the scenes stuff in the DVD content and all, like just every time we see them out hunting, it's like they're looking around, but it doesn't seem as frenetic as we're used to seeing.
They're like looking at the sky, yeah, and like
it's like they're out weird. On the hill, and maybe they'll see the idol while they're out there.
Well, they also just don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
I think basically they gave like a mini tree stump to Jeff when he played. Like, it's not
the stick.
Yeah, it's just a stick. Yes. Yes. So Gary's gonna save himself here, which sort of pisses off Judd, but also, and before we get to that part, Jamie feels horribly. Jamie feels horribly at how he has treated people up to this point. He this is not becoming of him, and he wants to apologize. And the way he does that is during the food challenge. Jamie gives up his spot to get eighth place here. 8th or 9th, so that everyone, and I think Rafe is the one that says, I think this is strategic. I'm like, I don't think so. I think Jamie actually felt bad, like as a Southern, as a good old boy. Mm-hmm. I think that Jamie just felt bad that he was calling out, like doing everything he was doing. Do you guys think this was strategy, or do you think he was just being a good old boy?
I think he was just being a good old boy. I also don't think Jamie was too capable of thinking that strategically. So, like, as much as he tried, like, I think it was him trying to get, like, he actually did legitimately feel bad. It could have been a little strategy, but I actually think he did feel bad.
I'm like 90-10. Mostly he felt bad, but I think the most strategy he's capable of is a little twinge of like, oh, and they might like me a little better if I do this. Not any kind of real strategy or thinking anything out, but like, oh, I feel bad, I'm going to do this, and then a little bit of like, oh, okay, maybe. I also think that Jamie and Judd both seem to hold up really well physically from the food perspective. I legitimately wonder if Judd went into ketosis because of all the weight that he lost and probably like was functioning at a better physical level than the rest of them. Cause like he ate some stuff, but he seemed once they got better from those first few days, Judd was pretty good whether he ate or not.
Yeah.
And Jamie held up pretty well too. So I think the strategy part also might have been, I don't need the food.
Yes.
If he had been starving, I don't know if good old boy would have won out in the same way.
We're feeding Stephanie this entire time, so we don't need it.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll get there. We get to the Jamie blindside, which this is really, I would say even then, it's still not where Danny's game takes off. And I guess we can talk about Danny right here. The other thing with Danny in the season of the rumor, innuendo, and or confirmation of Danny not saying things to production during her confessionals because she felt like a lot of the questions were loaded, and if the questions were loaded to her, then the questions were going to be loaded to everyone else, and she didn't want everyone else to know her strategy, which I think my conspiracy theory on why Danny was kind of embarrassed in Winners at War is they were getting their get back at her for basically burying herself in this. Like, she, I think James brought it up earlier, like her winter edit is kind of buried. It's like, yeah, which was purposefully, whatever. And I think they were trying to get their get back at her by saying, yeah, now we're gonna make you look dumb as shit on our all winter season, when in reality I don't think that was warranted. Like the moment with her and Ben and Ethan, it's hilarious in Winners at War, but I don't think that she was just some ditz. I just think they purposely put that scene in there to say, hey, she didn't outsmart us because this happened. Danny here and basically the rest of the game, it's like, yeah, just get this alliance to turn one person in at almost every round. Like, yeah, I'm going to eventually lose Gary. Yeah, sure. Get someone in this alliance to turn on, everyone else every round, and I will be fine. But it starts here with the Jamie blindside nice vote, and this is where I solidify I love Jamie. Despite everything else, I love Jamie because he takes it like a man on his way out. What did y'all think of the Jamie blindside?
One of the greatest reactions, of course, anyone's ever had. And I mean, I get it from like his majority standpoint too, just because he was so chaotic and like they thought they could do that and still have the game afterwards. So I got it from their side strategically just because he was so unpredictable. But God, what a reaction. And it was graceful too. Like he wasn't like a poor sport either. But that was an all-time reaction. Blindsided, nice.
It's how you vote somebody out.
That's
I can't
how you
say
vote
it any
somebody
better
out.
than he did. That's it was executed well. From a Jamie perspective, Jamie's not winning this if he goes any farther. So it's kind of like, it is what it is. It was a good time for them to do it. They did it well. His reaction was great. That's a great end of an episode for me.
Yeah, and then we get Bobby, John, and Jamie as a dynamic duo on the jury the rest of the season, and it's adorable. There's two Southern boys just enjoying laughing at people. One of my favorite bromances in the history of the show. Even though we don't really get we never get audio of them getting along, it's just their reactions that are amazing. So we eventually lose Gary. We get to the Judd blindside, and this is kind of where I want to talk about briefly. So one, shout out Survivor Brooklyn South, because when I played Survivor Brooklyn South a few years ago, Judd and his wife both showed up and kind of hosted ish the pre-merge, and the round that I got blindsided, I go up to vote, and Judd goes, "So, Coach, how confident are you that you're going to make it out of this, or that the vote's going to go the way that you want it to go?" And I'm like, "I'm pretty confident." Oh, when he says "man," he calls me "man." I'm like, "Hell yeah, Judd calls me man." But I go, I'm fairly confident, Judd. And I go back and sit down. I'm feeling good about myself because Judd called me man and called me coach. Like, this is great. And then I go out, I think 4-3. I go out 4-3. But he was amazing. I told you all before we went live, he's aged very well. But he was willing to just sit and talk to people after they were voted out of the game, just about anything. And like, I wasn't starstruck because I mainly because I'm in a game, and also I don't get starstruck often. But him calling me coach was like, really, it's like, oh man, he didn't call me Andrew. That's so amazing. So Judd goes here, and he has another iconic, similar to Jamie, on his way out. How do we feel about the Judd boot?
So, yes, it was similar to Jamie, and it was a memorable reaction. I'm gonna say why I think it's different in two ways, though. One, Judd was so bitter. Jamie was reactionary, but it was like almost like a "you got me, guys, good." Judd was so mad. Like, that might be top 5, 10 still to this day, most mad someone's ever been exiting. The other thing, Jamie, I think, was the right move by his alliance. Judd, this is what lost Stephanie the game, in my opinion. Partially. But this was so bad for her. She needed to sit at the final 2 with Judd. Like, that was what she should have been trying to do. So that's why I think it's different in 2 different ways, but still, this is such a perfect exit for him.
Jocelyn, are you a scumbag? And how do you feel about it?
My reaction was literally about to be that I think there's nothing that I would love more in life than for Judd to think of me and call me a scumbag. Like, I don't think I'm a scumbag, but I think Judd probably thinks I'm a scumbag, so sure. It's incredible. It's awesome. It's Judd again. It's Judd being Judd. I love watching Judd be Judd. Like, lose your mind. Go for it. Scream and yell. And everything this season, and I am including 2 grown men throwing their entire bodies at each other full body weight, as intense as it gets personally, it never crosses the line of where you're like, that was too much. His previous comments to Margaret, to anyone else, might have been too much, but to Margaret, it was okay. So, like, yeah, this is who you are. They didn't hire a loudmouth from Jersey to quietly take his boot and say, "Thanks, Jeff," as he walked away. Give me all of it. Give me all the Judd in the last moments that I can get it.
Like I said before, Judd and Jamie, but Judd here, just such a underappreciated villain of the show, because when he gets to Final Tribal and he's more upset that Stephanie lied to his wife than it was for him. And like he does, I think earlier in the season was like, I don't listen to anyone except for I don't take whatever except for if it's my wife or myself or whatever it was. It's like, yeah, this man has he has morals, and if you break those morals, he's going to treat you like a scumbag. And I mean, he votes overly bitterly, and it's so funny that he does. It's so funny that he just vote Steph. I don't know because you lied to my wife. And Steph, I do think that Steph had a good point of like, I didn't know I was voting you at that point. It didn't change until afterwards. It's like, no, all I'm hearing is you lied to my wife. I quickly want to talk about because, and this is going back a couple rounds, but this bothered me so much that I just have to point it out. I did a Survivor trivia event a couple of years ago, and the question was, first Survivor player to find an idol without a clue. And me and one other person guessed the right answer. Everyone else guessed the wrong answer. Me and Al, shout out Al, me and Al said Gary Hawkins Hogaboom, which is the correct answer because Gary didn't have a clue.
Didn't have a clue.
All the wrong people put Russell Hands, which is wrong. So they gave us all points in that situation. It's like, well, this is bullshit because that's not the correct answer. Gary is the person that found the idol without the clue. The end. But I just had to get that out there because I have it in my notes and I wanted to say it. This is a very intriguing Final Seven because from an audience standpoint, I don't think there is a absolute front runner.
No.
Like they are saying, oh, Stephanie, Lydia's names comes up, Rafe's name comes up. There is no definitive, we have to get rid of this person right here. And at Final Seven, that's just it's crazy that we're still at this point in the show's history where we don't know who we should get rid of. For y'all, and no matter what round it is, was there a standout front runner for you first, second time that you watched this season?
There isn't for me, and I think that's part of why this season feels weird, is that a lot of the strategy stuff is interpersonal, it's how they're working together, and it's a lot of very kumbaya voting where they're all just deciding who the person is, that person's going, and it's not based on like, there's never this person is the biggest threat, that's who we're going for. It's like there's always a different reason for the consensus, probably because none of them would agree on who the strongest target would have been. There were other things they could agree on. But there's never, up through this point especially, everybody has their reasons that they're a threat in completely different avenues. Lydia's is taking care of everybody. There's some that are playing more social. There's front runners in so many different lanes that you'd almost have to know exactly how each person is going to vote at the end to have any idea what the actual strength is that you need to sit at FTC.
James?
Yeah, so interesting enough, this season and right around this Final Seven time was a time where I was moving from Northern Virginia to Maryland. I only moved an hour away, but I was in 5th grade. It was the middle of the year. I knew in the spring I was going to move, like when Survivor Palau was on, but it was a time where I was pretty like broken up. I knew I was going to move somewhere where I wasn't going to have any friends. I remember we were like packing up the house. There was barren stuff in the room and snuggling up in the bed with my brothers and mom, watching Survivor. And exactly what you said, like 7 people left. There wasn't really a clear like winner. And going back, watching this as many times as I have, I still kind of feel that way. And I feel like the reasoning, like Jocelyn said, for getting rid of people was more that everybody had their own strengths for like why they were a threat. So people were kind of like trying to pick apart at that really. And I mean, we did get left with with a pretty interesting group of people. And we also, like it being the first time with captains and Stephanie still being in the game, we I know she wasn't at the end yet at this point, but we had yet to see if like the jury would hold it against someone for playing when no one else had when everyone else hadn't played before, or that they would find it condemnable that she came in with like maybe a target on her back and still made it that far. There was no like precedent for that. So like they kind of had to like decide that on their own. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed not knowing who was going to win, especially after like the season before, which is a season I still enjoy, but it was so obvious, kind of like Palau, like Karor, Tom Westman is going to win the game. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
breath of fresh air.
I have in my notes, stop leaving Danny alone with these people, because we're now at the point in the game where every time a reward challenge happens, everyone picks basically everyone except for Lydia and Danny, but specifically Danny, who is the only person left from her swamp tribe, and somehow just skates by, to use Judd's words, but somehow is able to just kind of get through the rest of the game without any big target except for the final four. And I just like, why are y'all doing? Just take her once, and you'll probably end up in a good spot. But instead, they keep taking Stephanie, and so Judd's saying, "Oh, Stephanie, how much have you had to eat this season?" So yeah, you keep giving the queen bee all the food, and she keeps voting y'all out. You're gonna feel a type of way if she's sitting at the end, because I gave you all this food and you, within the realms of the game, treated me like dirt. Do y'all feel like these people were threatened by Danny at any point? Because it doesn't feel like that was. It doesn't feel like it felt like once they got rid of Hogaboom Hawkins and Brandon and Bobby John, it's like, okay, well, it's just Danny now. Who's our best friend? Danny's our best friend, but we're not threatened by her.
I have a take on this that includes behind the scenes information that Rafe has given. So, if that one thing that one person from the season has said is true, by the time the season started and they had been quarantined, their relationships were already built. And there was a general consensus for the entire season that neither one of them was winning, which to me changes so much of how we watch this and how you watch the edit and how we see Steph being miserable, but it's like Steph's miserable, but they have to get to what's going to be the end of this season. They have to edit it so I wonder how much Danny we missed out on because they had to cut down to pair against the other content that they had to try and get a compelling final narrative at the end where all of us aren't just like, well, duh. They couldn't show us any conversations that they had about that because then, well, duh. And it's talking about pregame stuff and it's production, and so I wonder if a lot of the Danny stuff is more edits and the fact that they couldn't show her as such a strong front runner and Steph being miserable all the time and have a good finale of your show that people care about and are invested in.
I still think a big part of the edit does highlight why Steph lost, but I think that hurts Danny's edit and game at the same time. Like we see more of the story of why Stephanie lost than why Danny won, essentially. But I do think it is interesting that you brought up that like these people could have sat there in the quarantine before the game and saw that Bobby John and Stephanie are playing and been like, these two have played the last season. Like none of us have played before. Like they're not. Neither one of these people are winning. I don't care what anything happens. No matter what happens on this island, like we're not voting one of these people to win. And like they could have had that mindset. And obviously, on an edited show, that's never going to be said. We'll get to the who we think should have won at the end, I think. But yeah, no, I think that's
weren't in quarantine, so they bonded for 2 full weeks as a group, and then went and got introduced to Steph and Bobby John. So it's not even just like these are new returnees. It's like we've all already known each other for 2 years.
Yeah. You're on mute.
Yeah. We'll get to Final Tribal in just a second. I do have a couple, well, 3 things that I want to touch on before we get to that. One, Lydia's adorable, and I love her, and she's the best. 2, this is going, they eat the chicken, a storm happens. That's all their fault. But in the middle of that, we have the car reward. And this outside of Fiji is the one that people kind of look back on the most, because Cindy wins the challenge and they basically say, hey, you get 1 or everyone else gets 1 and you don't get anything. Just a simple question of what do y'all do in that spot?
If you have to think about it, I know I'm taking the car. And Cindy's exactly right in her explanation of it. There is no guarantee, no matter how much they like you, and even if they all carry you forward, they're not the only people voting on the jury. You don't get all the jury votes to win $1 million just because you gave a couple people cars. Like, there are no guarantees in Survivor, so you take the thing that's offered to you. And if people are bitter about it, you could wake up tomorrow and say the wrong thing and they could be bitter about that instead. So for me, if I work my butt off and I win something, I'm gonna take the thing that I know I won.
Hanson?
I'm taking the car 100% too. They set her up for failure with this one. It is lose-lose. Like, there's no way she was coming out of this like and it being a positive for her game whatsoever. So I think that's why we will always remember this the most out of, like, I know the car curse is a big thing in Survivor, but specifically we're going to remember this one, aside from Fiji, the most out of any of them. Because
and I think Rafe's the only one that disagrees with this, because Rafe's like, I can't believe this didn't happen. I'm like, really? You can't believe this, Rafe? Like, he's a sweetheart, but
yeah, like, my thing is though, like, was Cindy doing that? Like, if she was that helping her get to the end of the game, 1, and 2, was that helping her win jury votes at the end of the game by doing that if she is sitting at the end? I think the answer is no to both of them. No,
she's all right. She was at the bottom after the last vote. Like, she was the only one that voted with Judd at the last tribal. So it's not like she was in the majority and then got kicked out because she didn't give cars. She was already in the minority, and Danny does her Danny magic, and also it's like, yeah, it's very easy to just get rid of the person that voted differently last time, and we can just use this as one of the reasons that we want to get rid of her. Cindy, I have season crushes every season. Cindy's my season crush on the season. Fun fact.
I had like 3 of them on this season, so.
The one that they got voted at the swap, and I can't remember her name. It's one of the generic whites from pre-merge. But yeah, she was also very cute. So Lydia goes home at 4. We get to the final 3, and this is where we're going to talk about Stephanie, because both at Final Tribal and I guess the end game, it's kind of looked at that Stephanie is odds-on. Stephanie or Rafe are kind of looked at as odds-on favorite to win the game. And I'm gonna make a Tyson comparison right now, because Tyson in his first season was kind of portrayed as a dick, a fun dick, but a dick nonetheless. And here's his villains. He's kind of under-edited, but like you kind of know Tyson's not going to outstay his welcome.
Blood versus more Water, a bozo.
He's shown, yeah. Here, Blood versus Water, he's shown as someone. He's a crier. He cares about people. Like we get the perfect Tyson edit up to this point in his Survivor career. And then the reason I compare it to Stephanie is because in Palau, we know with hindsight that she's going to be the last person on Oolong. We know that she's going to fight and get 2 rounds into the merge. And we know there's going to be a lot of moments that kind of resonate with us because we're supposed to be rooting for this person. And I feel like obviously they get rid of all of that in this season and kind of portray her as actual Stephanie LaGrossa. Like we get more of a who this person actually is. And yes, the times and not the times. We get a lot of moments this season that are just like, yeah, I get it. I get why she. I won't even get why she lost. I do get why she lost, like from a game perspective, but also I get like who this person is as a whole, and I also get why they would in Heroes versus Villains. There is not one time that they acknowledge that she played on Guatemala in it, because we get the bigger picture of her. We don't just get the Palau edit of her. James, all time, just through 4 seasons, and you can talk in or out game just for this specific segment. Where have you kind of always or sometimes fallen with Stephanie?
Well, Palau Stephanie for me was like a a female figure. She was like the first person that I like really adored as like a character and loved. And then Guatemala, like I'm so excited for her. Like she's there, she's playing this great game, but she almost had like this character slip, and along the way, I kind of liked the other people like more. So it was kind of weird how I went into it liking Stephanie so much, and by the end, I'm sitting here saying not only does she deserve to lose, but I also kind of want Danny to win at the same time. Stephanie's third and fourth times, I feel like you said, they completely ignored that she played on Guatemala. Like she was brought back for Heroes Villains in 50 because she outlasted everyone on her tribe on Oolong and did that. Like that's why she was on 50. Stephanie, like 50, she placement wise fine, but boring, I would say, comparatively to a lot of the people. She didn't make the greatest impact, but I still like. I think she has a great.
She won the org challenge.
Yeah, she did.
She won the org challenge,
and she went out on Mr. Beast twist. But anyways, like Stephanie, despite her, like she's polarizing outside of the game a little bit, obviously, but obviously she's still an iconic figure in the show, playing 4 times, and like we saw the whole like shebang from her. Like we saw Hero Stephanie, we saw Villain Stephanie, we saw Juror Stephanie, we saw Pre-Merger Stephanie, we saw FTC finalist Stephanie. Yeah, we saw her play from the bottom, we saw her play from the top. Like we saw everything from her. So like I think in terms of all-time like character, she's an unforgettable person. But as far as her story goes this season, she 100% got what she deserved, I think.
Yeah. Jocelyn?
I agree that we've seen every version of Steph's game that we could get, so let's never have to see it again, is my take. Let's be done, and I'm happy. First viewing of Palau Steph was my new favorite player of all time. She, by the time I watched, was already married to a World Series Philly. I hear the Jersey accent. I'm not going to call it comforting, but like I hear Judd talk. I'm from outside of Philly. I hear Judd talk. I hear Steph talk. I'm like, oh, there's a context. I know a lot. Like I have a context of who this person is. She's playing. She has this storyline. It's, last one on the tribe. It's sympathetic. She's fighting so hard. So like first time around watching this, she was my absolute favorite. And I went into Guatemala and saw literally the next day because I was marathoning. It's going to turn in a second.
No. I'll tell you in a second what I just realized, but please.
Okay. I was like, I know it's surprising. It's not that surprising.
No, I just realized something. And so, yeah.
Okay. So it was like she was set up to be like my dream contestant. I loved her. And then literally turn on Guatemala immediately. And I'm like, oh my God, I get Steph back again. This is awesome. I'm not looking anything up because it's 2022 and I have a lot of seasons left to watch. I can't look up anything personal about anybody because I'm going to find out returning season information and all kinds of spoilers. So I have almost 20 years of context in real life on the season that I'm not looking up at all. Literally episode 2, we get the first R slur. I am not going to count them all, but in my notes, I absolutely have tallies of the homophobic and R slur remarks that are made this season. Again, it's 2005. There were plenty of people not using it anymore at that time.
Yeah.
There were plenty of people in her life probably calling her out, but it was not as far as we are now into that being like everyone thinks it's a ridiculous thing that you absolutely never say. Yeah. So it was kind of like as it's going, I'm like, oh, this is a different Steph, but like, okay. And then by the time she's with Judd and they're just two Jersey people together and they're bullying everyone. The quote from Steph in Final Tribal Council, I think, says it best for me. And this is not even considering any of the Eliza, any of the things she's said and done outside of game. Steph at Final Tribal Council says, I'm the same person I was in Palau, and you might have just seen a different side of me. I think that's the truest thing that she's ever said. I think in Palau, we got an edit with a lot of sympathetic music, and she was the same miserable person that she was in Guatemala. We just got the sympathetic edit. I don't know that she changed that much, even in how miserable she is in Guatemala. I think we just got different music behind it and different cutscenes and a different version of the same person. I think she said it right there more honestly than she had any idea what she was saying.
And I think that's why I say that Bobby John 1.0 and 2.0 are the same person, because Bobby John basically goes out the same time in both seasons. So we get basically the same edit of Bobby John both times. Because Stephanie is the last person on Oolong, so we have to feel this type of way. And because she makes it to the end and loses in Guatemala, we have to say, hey, no, this is mostly everything now, as compared to here, where it's like, we're not going to show this person in any other light other than she is the greatest hero in the history of the show, not named Colby Donaldson, and we're just kind of have to run with it. And even like Heroes versus Villains, she gets all three of us said she gets the Palau edit because we need her to be the Palau hero. In 50, like James mentioned, we need for the fourth returnee, we need y'all to remember. You remember? Oh man, she was the last person. She was the last person in our tribe. Don't you guys remember that? We need this, and I think Guatemala is the full version. Yes, so, James. Sorry, but go ahead.
Now I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm so sorry.
Well, no, what were you just?
Well, no, it's like just Stephanie. Like for you, well, yeah, I know we both asked, but like it looked like you had a retort.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, in Palau, Stephanie was on it. Like, the tribe she was on, like, they were just such losers. Like, they were so bad at the game. Like, obviously, they were gonna have to make her look good when she outlasts everyone, and she's the only one left. But like, just to have it so quickly, like, just be such a flip of the script for her, like, to go from hero to villain in one season, like, in very opposite ends of it, really. Like, she wasn't, like, I would say most Survivor players don't really classify as either when they play. But like, she clearly got edited as a extreme hero to like extreme villain. Like, there was no middling ground whatsoever. And the other thing with Stephanie is in Heroes versus Villains, like, she's cast as the hero. Like, that even further just enhances that they completely forgot what she even did on this season, because she wasn't even the hero that was like the most. People would say Candace was on the wrong tribe. There was not a lot of people saying Stephanie was on the wrong tribe. Maybe we were saying it, but the general public was not saying it. So, yeah, I found that really interesting too. Like,
Yeah, so and yeah, my opinions are pretty much a mix of what both of y'all said. Like watching Palau yesterday, it's like, yeah, I felt for her in certain situations because I'm an empathetic person. Today it was kind of, and I honestly didn't feel like the jury came after her too much, with the exception of maybe Judd, because she lied to his wife. Like, um, I didn't feel for her one way or the other, and so I do want to just quickly point out, Steph basically shits on Lydia during Lydia's question, where Lydia's like, "Hey, yeah, we had this deal. What's up with this?" And Steph goes, "Oh yeah, I wanted to take the best to the end," and this like saying all of these things that basically says, "Yeah, Lydia, you kind of suck."
yeah,
And I want to go with this person instead. Not really a question, it's more of a wow. Uh, I mentioned this earlier that Danny kind of played the Chris Doherty game from Vanuatu. Just kind of, I understand that my allies are probably going to get taken out, and all I can do is just bide my time until. And that's what she did the best, outside of lying to Prod during confessionals, not giving him anything. She bides her time so that when all three of her people she merged with are gone, she's never really in any type of trouble until Final Four. And even then, she only catches one vote, so it's not like she was in actual trouble there. I'm not putting Danny on some all-time list or anything like that, but it's more I get it. I get what she did. I get how it worked, and I feel like anyone that merges in the minority should use this as a blueprint of how to navigate a merge, because it's just, yeah, let's be the less hateable person of our swap tribe or whoever when we merge, and I'll probably find a crack by then. Jocelyn, for you, Danny as a winner, you know, where we don't have to do numbers and all of that unless you have that. Um, where how do you perceive Danny's win?
I love Danny. I'm not going to say like top winner love Danny. I think again that there's probably a lot of Danny we didn't see in the edit of this season too, which impacts a lot. But I think that it was almost floater gameplay, except for the fact that she was still loyal to the people she was loyal to while doing it. So she really did navigate all of those changes alongside Gary for a long time. And played it really well. And yeah, it was a quieter game and it was an under the radar game and it got her to the end. So not every game is going to be, and this season didn't have big blindsides. You're not going to give, there is no win to give to somebody who kept blindsiding all the power players and played this incredible giant game. That player doesn't exist in this season to give the win to. So I really, really love Danny. I love in the first episode, the first challenge, Danny going across the spider web is like insane. I wrote down, Danny Boatwright, the woman that you are, because then the only time we're going to see Danny for 4 more episodes is if she's talking about Gary and football. But I love her. I don't think she's like a top winner because she didn't do anything for me that stands out incredibly, but I think she played a great game and she played the game she needed to with the players she was playing with, and it worked.
James?
yo, I have her ranked 30th out of 49, which I feel like is very fair.
Yeah.
I think I think there's a clear like bottom tier of winners, and I'll argue to the death of me if anyone's putting her in that. I understand if you have her, people have her a little lower than I have, but like comparing her with some of the people I view as like the lower tier, really lower tier winners, I won't get into specifics on them, but I would not put her there at all. And like she did exactly what she had to do. Like a really flashy person was not winning this season because like they were going to get taken out, and the way the majority was running things, like people were gonna be bitter no matter who got to the end. So Danny really played her cards perfectly, and it's just so funny. Like I said, I went into this season having a crush on Stephanie, and I went out of the season having a crush on Danny. So it worked out.
I don't blame you.
And
so yeah.
Yeah, and I was really like, she was a random pull for Winners at War, and I was so happy that she was on there, being like a stan of this season.
Yeah.
But I'm disappointed in what happened, the old school like slaughter, and I do think the edit made her out to look stupider than she actually was. I do believe. I think you're right on that, Coach. You said that earlier.
They're getting their lick back. I have Danny 39 out of 49. This is based off of the last time I did this, and every winner that's happened since then. That could change, but like as of now, 39 out of 49. But like once again, I don't think there's ever been a all and out bad winner, because I think I respect all the winners. But what I have liked about her game is hiding it from pride and fighting from the bottom to sit at the end next to someone that you know is going to be universally hated, instead of sitting next to Rafe, where you probably lose. Final question. Actually, no. Before I go to final question, what I was laughing at earlier is when you mentioned she's married to a World Series winner, I didn't realize she was married to Kyle Kendrick until right now.
Kyle Kendrick?
I
really?
Until right now. Like
Stephanie LaGrossa Kendrick? You didn't.
I just assumed that the brown guy she brought on the show for this was the same guy she's married to now.
Oh, Michael? God, he seemed like a douchebag, that guy.
I have Michael Ew in my notes, and then
Ew, yeah, douche.
He's just Ew in the rest of the notes for the family.
Honestly, until right now, I did not know that she was married to Kyle Kendrick, which means that there are 2 Survivor players that were married to Phillies pitchers, because Heidi is married to Cole Hamels.
Heidi Hamels.
And they're both the same World Series team. Like, yeah.
Exactly. I did not know that. All right. Anyway, last question. James, something the modern day Survivor fan would not enjoy about Survivor Guatemala.
I mean, for one, there's no diversity on the cast. Let's be real. Like the amount of just southern dudes they cast, crazy. Like that's one thing. Come on. Do we need 3 guys that were just like James from Palau, like on the season again? Come on.
Yeah. No, we do need them.
We need one of them. We don't need 3 of them.
We'll take Brandon, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that stood out, though. I'm like, what were we doing here? And maybe it did lead, because they did quickly like get more diverse and get better with the casting. But I did think that led to like some of the duds and unmemorable people here. That's something that never would happen today, though.
Jocelyn?
Yeah, representation was high on mine, and then also the language that's used, anti-representation. Neither one of those are going to fly really very well anymore. But I think also the kumbaya of so much of this season, and the lack of strategy talks, the lack of, I know for a little while there's discussions about Bobby John going out because he's a returnee, but in all reality, for returnees, there is nowhere near as much strategy talk about getting them out as you would expect to see. And that's not a people getting used to it happening thing. Like, you would just think from a strategy standpoint. And part of that may be that we just didn't see it because those conversations were talking about things that we're not going to be able to see. But I don't know. It's just, I think the slowness of the strategic gameplay and the things other than the challenges and the personal fights would really bore and turn off a lot of modern fans.
Yeah, you took that. That was mine. I feel like the fandom would really hate the fact that, with the exception of the Judd and Jamie vote outs, it's pretty much how you expect an episode to go. And this is why, and this is 11 days, basically 11 days in a row that I've said this, but like, when people in season 50 are saying, oh, this isn't always like, this is what Survivor used to be. It's like, yes, it is. Survivor's always been like, we've always had kumbaya tribes. We've always had seasons where people kind of vote off of tribal lines. this is not a new thing. And so the fact that people have kind of put the label in the post-COVID era of this is a new thing. We would never get emotional confessionals back in the day. It's like,
yes, we did.
are you sure? Because I can give you about 200 examples pre-COVID, but play on, playa. Thank both of you. So, because Gabe is not in our chat tonight, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up who would your number one ally in the season be?
Cindy.
That's mine.
Sorry, we can have a 3-person alliance.
Yeah, that's James.
Gary Hawkins.
Okay, yeah.
Just for the fun of it.
Yeah, well, I'm aligning with him. He's gonna be my buddy, and like I'm gonna really do the strategic work, but I'm gonna make it look like he's the threat.
If you ever try to vote me out, I'll dox you.
Yeah.
Pairing up with Gary worked well for Danny, so it's not a bad strategy.
Yeah.
It did. Well, thank you both. I know we had to do this early, so the chat wasn't what the chat is usually. But thank you both for joining tonight. We got 8 minutes before the Survivor 50 finale. I feel like all of us probably think that Aubrey's going to win. I would rather that not happen, but like it's going to. Does anyone think anything different?
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead first. I really think Joe is the only one left that absolutely does not deserve it at all. I think there's probably a 75 to 80% chance that it's going to be Aubrey, Jonathan, and Joe. And in that case, I think Aubrey probably deserves to win, but it's a close call with her and Jonathan and Tiffany for me. And I think Rizzo's played well, but I think the jury was never going to respect his game.
Yeah. No. Jocelyn.
Hey, Dream. It's going to drive me crazy when Tiff goes out before any of these people, but I know it's what's about to happen. So I agree on that final 3. And I think there's a chance Jonathan wins based on edit. I don't want it to happen. I think there's a chance, but I'm really hoping. It's leaning strongly Aubrey for me, and out of that 3, that's the clear choice that I'm gonna make.
Yeah, you can go on. All right, well, that will be everything. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. The Palau episode, amazingly, was the one that has the most views so far, outside of Borneo. Has the most views so far. Tomorrow we have Jake from the channel. We have Gia Worthy from Inside Survivor, and we have Christine all joining us to discuss Survivor Panama. I'm really excited to kind of dive into that one. Thank you again to the 2 of you. And well, hold on. I'm gonna get the last comment on screen. I'm sorry to hear that. And we will see you tomorrow for Survivor Panama.